Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. So we all know that Stephen A. Smith is the undisputed face of ESPN. There's just no two ways about it, whether you like it or not. But very few of us know what was really happening behind the curtains. Right? A lot of us didn't know some of the things, like, for example, why did he disappear for some time from ESPN? Why did he come back all of a sudden, right? So recently I was listening to an interview that he did where he basically took us behind the curtains, and he basically explained how he got to the top of the business. He also touched on some of the mistakes that he made throughout his career, right, and how it was able to kind of slow down his progress. But ultimately, he talked about how he was able to bounce back, and he gave his formula, to success that that really helps him in every in his work. And he believes that it's something that can be applied to everyone out there that is in corporate America or whatever you're doing. So before we go too far, what we want to do is we want to play some of the things that he had to say during this interview, and then we're going to come back and give you guys sort of our closing thoughts. So before we go too far, take a listen to some of the things that Stephen A. Smith had to say during his interview. Take a listen to that here.
Tell you, I met Stephen A. back when we were both at MSNBC, and I knew of the legend of Stephen A. Smith, but the guy I met at that time, you were in this uncertain space.
Yeah, the ESPN let me go. We had a contract dispute. I obviously thought I was worth more than they thought I was worth at that particular moment in time. And I didn't do enough of my homework. And I felt like I was worthy of more than they were offering me. And so,
but the bottom line, you'd been let go.
I was let go, and I was unemployed.
Right. And that's when I met you.
That's when you met me.
So when he walked into, we all had little cubicles, and Stephen A. walked in. First I thought, is he doing politics now? Right. But I have to be honest, and I never shared this with you, I didn't see that legendary swagger.
Right.
And I thought it was gone.
It was gone. I was humbled beyond belief. I was questioning myself in a lot of different areas because I knew that I came up in sports, and I knew that I knew what I was doing. And to be let go under those circumstances and to not have anybody in the sports world pursue you at all. I didn't have any job opportunity.
Everything. So you are called one of the greatest people. You had fans, both athletes and outside. Yep. People were giving you exclusives. And then when you went in to negotiate the contract, that blew up. Didn't go the way you thought.
That's right.
And nobody called you.
And nobody called me. Nobody. A decade ago, I was completely unemployed, living off of my savings. Literally living off of my savings, and I had just become a father, so I was wondering what on earth was going to happen to my life, my career, whatever. But then my sisters and my mom were like, you know who you are, you know what you're made of, this is a bump in the road, you've got to rebuild, but it doesn't start unless you look at yourself. And so they came to me and they challenged me to look at me and to recognize what mistakes I had made.
Had you played the game wrong?
Totally. I was very confident, but more importantly, I was uninformed about my own worth. I didn't study the business and master my art the way that I needed to in terms of understanding what your true value is. I looked at the fact that people were screaming my name in public and I was recognizable and thought that that was all that I needed. But I didn't pay attention to ratings, Q scores, and things of that nature, things that the business of sports journalism uses to gauge your value, what you mean to the company that you represent, what kind of revenue you generate and things of that nature. And so when I went about the business of focusing on that, my whole world changed, because the next time I came to the negotiating table, once I had gotten back into the business, I knew exactly what I was worth and what I wasn't. Got something very simple to tell you that I figured out that I think will work for anybody in the world of corporate America and beyond. I wake up every day with two missions in mind. How do I make my bosses more money, and how do I get some of it? Very simple. Why is that? Because if you wake up with that mindset, number one, the boss wants to hear what you have to say because they know that you're putting them first. And then they don't resent you trying to get some of it yourself. As a result, it forces or provokes conversation and dialogue between the two parties involved. You're listening to them, they're listening to you, because everybody's trying to win. And that's what it comes down.
Now, in that soundbite, you can clearly see that he was able to elaborate on a number of things, right? But he said a few things that I want to talk about. He spoke about how he misunderstood his value in the marketplace. He talked about the importance of knowing the business or understanding the business. He talked about ratings, Q scores, all of these different things. And he spoke about the fact that he felt that, I deserve X amount of money because so many people recognize me, so many people think I'm entertaining, so many people know me. And he said when he went into the negotiation room, he ended up getting his butt kicked because he didn't understand what, the people he was negotiating with, what they were really looking for. And I think that's powerful. I think it's very, very important to understand your value and to know exactly what you're bringing to the table. Why? Because if you don't know what you're bringing to the table, especially during a negotiation, you're going to be taken advantage of. Period. End of story, right? People don't have to tell you what you're worth. You hear about this a lot in music. There's so many stories of musicians who felt as if they signed bad contracts that, I'm worth more than this, why am I only receiving this, and all of these different things. When they started off their careers, usually these people, you see them very happy. They're talking about how I made it and all of these different things. And then a few years later, they're complaining about, oh my God, I'm being taken advantage of. I'm not making any money, blah, 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 blah. So if they knew all of these things from Jump Street, I don't think they would find themselves in the predicament that they ultimately find themselves later on in the future. So that's one thing. So it's really important to understand your business. He also spoke about his philosophy when it comes to work, right? To corporate America. He spoke about the fact that, he wakes up with two major thoughts in mind. How does he make the company money? And number two, how does he make himself some money? Now that's something that's been said before. And some people, it sounds kind of weird to me, but I kind of understand what he was saying after he elaborated on this point, which is basically saying, put your company first, put your employer first. Once you put them first, they're not going to resent you. And then once they see that you're a team player and you're in it to make everybody some money, then all of a sudden they're going to become more receptive to having a conversation with you and ultimately wanting to give you what you want, right? Because they want to win, but then ultimately they'll want to see you win. But the most important thing is you have to make sure that you want them to win first. So I understand what he was saying, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be able to take something away from, some of the things that he said. So to me, I think the most important thing, apart from the thing I just mentioned, I think is the fact of understanding your business, understanding what you're worth, know what your value proposition is. If you understand what your value proposition is, what you're trying to bring to the marketplace, try to expand on that, try to make it as good as possible. I understood those parts, and that's the part that really stood out to me the most. So what I want to know from you guys is what were your takeaways from this interview? What did you like? What didn't you like? What parts really stood out to you? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, it's just Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode.